Recording in progress.
Okay. Yes. All right, 6 o'clock. So we'll call this meeting to order. Will you join me with the Pledge of Allegiance, please? Can I get a roll call, please?
Mayor Rao,
Here.
Councilman Rao,
Present.
Councilman Hunter,
Here.
Councilman Leveri. He said he was going to try to join on Zoom. He's trying to work his way back from Vegas, so. Councilman Fitzsimons.
Present. Okay, are we in compliance with our open meeting laws?
Yes.
Public comment. Do we have any public comment tonight related to anything that's on our agenda? Wait just a second. Andy, turn that mic on, pull it forward.
Yep, I got you.
Okay,
There you go.
you're good, you're good.
Go ahead. If you can talk into the microphone, that would be super.
Did you get any information on the line added charge?
It's on.
It's gone?
Can I go home now?
Okay, do we have any other public comment? Okay, we'll move on to the consent agenda.
Second that.
I have Tommy turn, let me turn your microphone on, Tommy. Let's do that one more time.
One more time.
I move for approval of the consent agenda.
Second that.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve the consent agenda. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Approve or deny City of Caliente Tree Board members, Corey Decker, Joseph Laveri, Bill Bradshaw, Sharon Barlow, and Maggie Orr.
So Joe was gonna speak to this. In fact, it looks like he might have just got on. Joe, are you there?
Yeah, I'm on. Yeah, I'm on now, Craig. I had to type in the passcodes and stuff to get in there this time. So Cali, years ago, it's been quite a while now, we were Tree City USA. Maggie and a few other people had worked through some people at NDF to reinitiate us or reinstate us as being Tree City USA. So as part of that, we had to form a tree board, which we had before, and it just had dissolved basically. So the members on there have all been spoken to by Maggie and agreed to be on there. And so if we have a tree board, we'll meet at least once a year, if not more, once we get it going. With that board, I haven't had a chance to see who the chairperson and how we set that up, but by the next meeting, we'll have all that information done as well. But the reason behind the tree board is for the application of Tree City USA, we have to have a board, have a meeting, and then the next two agenda items that follow that are also tied to that as well. Once we get the board, and if we make it bigger or someone else would like to be on it in the community, we could always take a look at that and bring it back to the council and get approval for that one. This was just to basically get this going before the end of the year.
Good question. Good question.
Okay?
Joe, will this anyway change our status as the Rose City?
No, Tom, it's funny. Someone else asked me that too. That has nothing to do with this. I want to say it was 11 through 13. We were a Tree City. That's not renaming like our city, because I've had that question asked to me. This is a program that allows cities to, I don't have all the information in front of me, but basically access like federal funding for planting of trees, tree care, tree maintenance. But it has nothing to do with like the actual changing of the name of like what we're known as Rose City or anything like that. I do believe the signs, and I could be wrong, like out by the BLM bridge, I want to say they're still up, that says we are a Tree City.
Yes, they are still up.
So we're ahead on that. It's basically just a funding thing, and yeah, it doesn't have anything to do with renaming us. But it will be a good opportunity for a lot of these trees that are along the linear park and our other parks and out throughout the community, and probably get more trees and have the ability to plant them without probably tying grand skies up.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Hey, Joe, this is Sean. Is this program, does the committee also work with the elementary school, or is that an NDF thing where you guys would go to Kelly Elementary and provide educational items there for the youth, for the elementary kids? Is that what the committee would also help do, or that's more NDF, or both?
No, it could be both. So we actually recently did that with NDF, and I think some people on there know we donated some tree or got some trees and planted them at the elementary schools and different places. That was solely on us. But once the Tree City comes, what it does is, as the committee, or they could arrange it, or we do a community day, multiple things, and there could be funding to like put on an event like that and educational materials and everything. I'm hoping, you know, the board, we don't meet once a year and we do some things like you just said, Sean, and that's kind of, I believe, the intent of the people on that board. We had to rush it a little bit to make sure this application goes through before the end of the year. But
Yeah, that sounds
this would
good.
also allow us to, this would also allow us to maybe fund some training for our city utility crew as well, if and things like that.
Okay, thanks.
Yep.
Well, I make a motion that we approve the City of Caliente Tree Board members Corey Decker, Joseph Laveri, Bill Bradshaw, Sharon Barlow, and Maggie Orr.
I'll second the motion.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve the tree board members. All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion
Aye.
carries. Motion carries. Approve or deny proclamation to become a Tree City and Arbor Day in an Arbor Day celebration.
So, Joe, I'll just start this. So I put this out through resolution, number 2022-04. Resolution of the City Council of the City of Caliente, Nevada, declaring December 3rd, 2022 as Arbor Day in Caliente, Nevada. We wanted to run that in conjunction, correct me if I'm wrong, Joe, with the tree lighting and use that as a venue to have is there going to be a tree donated at that time as well, Joe?
Yeah, I will, I'll talk to Grant and see if we have anything, because we had gave some trees, and if not, I can come up with some through our nursery. And Sean, I didn't get a chance to talk to you about this, but I did speak with Jamie Wood for a minute and let her know that by no way are we taking from the tree lighting, and explained again the reason why we got to have a quick event. And if the beautification wants to make this bigger and add it into the entire tree lighting, we can do that as well. But I just figured December 3rd, it's perfect. We're running out of time, and then there was already a celebration going, so I figured that'd be a good day to do it. And she didn't have a problem with that. But and I'll come up with the tree if we don't have any of those ones we gave you guys earlier, Grant. I don't know if you guys planned them, or we can figure that out later. With that being said, I will have to get with Grant and decide a location of where we would want to put a tree. And that would be, I guess, the whole committee kind of deciding that and working with Grant on that.
Okay, I think we've got some trees. NDF was down here earlier this week, and they went through and did a big inventory of a bunch of our trees and looked at stuff that needs to be replaced and removed and things like that. There's plenty along the highway that are dead that we could get rid of and replace with a good tree. And that might be a easy place to see it happen.
Yeah, I would be good with that, and I'll pass that on to the committee. I don't think there'll be any issues with that. And part of this proclamation would be the mayor could proclamate Arbor Day next year, and we proclamate Arbor Day back to the regular Arbor Day week in April, and do something differently. But as far as the Tree City application goes, we just have to have a Arbor Day within the calendar year.
I'll make a motion that we approve resolution number 2022-04, declaring December 3rd as Arbor Day in Caliente.
Second that motion.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve Arbor Day on December 3rd. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Aye.
That took care of
Okay.
B and C, didn't it?
Yep,
That work, Franklin?
okay.
Because the proclamation takes care of it being on that day.
Approve the resolution. We were,
I-
they
I-
discussed this item.
I kind of threw that on there, Jamin, too, as a discussion, I think, Craig, when we talked about it. So however you guys feel about that item.
Yeah, I mean, as far as I'm concerned, we approved the resolution for December 3rd as Arbor Day. So I think if there's any additional discussion for C, we can have it. Otherwise, I think we're all right.
Okay, we'll move on. Approve or deny electrical fund rate increase.
So the fun begin. So yeah, as we discussed already, the mainline rate adder has been removed from our bill, so that will no longer be billed. If you do see that on your bill, I know I'll hear about it, but you should not see that on your bill anymore. So as you can see in the packet that I provided, I included a couple copies of the last couple of Lincoln County Power District utility bills. You'll notice that the latest bill that we received did not have any mainline rate adder charge on there. So Grant mentioned this several meetings back. You'll see that the charge to the city was $9.11. We never, at some point in time, that increased to us and that was never passed on. I don't like that, but it's the way it goes sometimes. So that's kind of why we're in this situation where we're at. We've discussed this with previous meetings and rate increases. But if you'll notice on the statement dated October 31st, 2022 from Lincoln County Power District, that statement is a bill related to the power usage or I guess the power billed per kilowatt hour to the city of Caliente. It was a total, I wrote this on the copy that I printed out. The total kilowatt hours for that bill was 684,946 at a total cost of $8,671.43. So that is what we are getting charged if you combine the 4 different fees that are tied to that month's utility bill. There's 4 different accounts that they bill separately, but if you total them up, that's where you get that number. So what that means to me is you take that total dollar amount, divide it by the kilowatt hours that they're billing us for, and that is what we need to cover. That's the increase to the city. So that's what I'm looking to cover with any increase in our billing so that we're not going backwards. You can do the math. The math comes out to 0.01266. So that would be 1.266 cents per kilowatt hour, which is roughly 10% of where we're at right now. So it's a 1.266 cent per kilowatt hour increase in order to cover the increase that we just received. Factor that in with the $9 decrease that everybody's gonna see from the mainline rate adder. Whether that makes you feel better about it or not, I don't know, but that will reduce the financial impact on a monthly basis that this increase will cause. So that's it. That's the silver lining. But that's where the number's at. I'm gonna go back and do a little bit more historical kind of computing to look at this to see, but ultimately the numbers aren't gonna change. The price per kilowatt hour isn't gonna change. So it's basically just, it's consumption, and that's what's gonna affect our bill. Therefore, we need to implement a per kilowatt hour charge increase. That way, regardless of what the usage is, we're covering the cost. If consumers use less power, then the charge will be less. But if they use more, then the city will be covered by billing it on a per kilowatt hour basis. So I don't know if you have any questions about that. We didn't have the number out. I don't know that it's appropriate to approve this yet, but that's what I have. And I think my intention would be, depending on the flavor of the city council, if we want to, I would love to get this on our next utility bill because we're paying for it. And we're gonna be cutting out the mainline rate adder. So I'd like to have it go out on the next bill because we're already getting charged for it. In order to do that, we'd have to have a special meeting before the end of the month to do it. Next week's Thanksgiving, so however you want to slice that, we could do it early in the week if you wanted to, or we can wait a month and just do it at our next December 1st meeting, but we wouldn't be able to include the charge.
I could really use a special meeting as well to approve purchasing a garbage truck now that we've got some insurance stuff worked out.
I think we need to look at a meeting. I think that's important that we,
The next regular meeting would be in 2 weeks anyway, right? That's the first.
It's on
December
December
1st.
1st.
Yeah. I mean, unless you want to hold a meeting next week.
which is,
That's what I'm
the
saying.
earliest we could do that would be Wednesday, right?
Well,
Yeah, I mean, we could do it. Let's see, I'd have to post an agenda tomorrow morning to have a meeting on Wednesday.
I'm saying,
So-
so then Thursday's Thanksgiving, so.
Right. So
We're
we
cutting
could,
it close.
I mean, I feel bad doing that to people who are traveling on Wednesday night. We could do it, or we could do it in the day. We can do it as early as 9 a.m. on Wednesday. I'm the only one here at City Hall until after Thanksgiving, so I'd dual role in the meeting and in City Hall, but we could probably make it work.
I have practice Wednesday morning at 8 AM. Can't be here.
I didn't want you here anyway. Just kidding. What time does that get over for you, Sean? Well, I guess you have school though after.
would-
So
Cool.
Oh, you're
We have
not-
practice,
from 8 to 10.
11 probably,
11.
since
So we could do
90%
it-
of my guys are still playing football, so.
I mean, we could do it at noon.
And this would be on Wednesday, correct? No, yeah.
We could do it at noon,
Or
just
later in
close,
the evening.
close for lunch for a minute, for 30 minutes or whatever, and do it then. Or we could do it in the evening. I'll do whatever. Personally, if
One
I
of the
say I'm
things-
gonna do it in the evening, my wife might kill me, but
4
that's
or
okay.
5 maybe, or no?
Garbage truck is just something that we need to get approved and get it moving forward, and another week without puts the county at, I mean, we're just dragging things out, and so it's kind of, I hate putting everybody in that position, but it's something that we really need to get done, and while we're doing it, we need to approve the rate increase, so.
I'm easy.
Sounds like we can get a quorum, so.
So Wednesday morning,
Did you hear that, Joe?
Sean, if you.
Yes, I did.
Is it gonna hurt your
I'll-
feelings if we
I'll
do
be
it while
around,
you're at
so that's fine.
practice?
Okay.
Possibly Zoom in if it's just those 2 items.
Okay, so do we wanna set a time right now? Just say we're gonna do it at
Might as well.
9 a.m.? I don't believe we can do it before 9 a.m., but I could be wrong about that. I'll look at the statute, but at 9 a.m. we should
9's
be
the
safe.
earliest you can
So,
go, yeah.
Safe.
okay, so 9 a.m.,
But they have to get the agendas out by 9 a.m.
I'll be doing that tonight.
I got a couple of comments. First of all, about the adder line, what did they say when you finally got to the bottom of that? It seems like we've been waiting on that since August.
Sorry,
Or
say that again, on the.
The adder, the main adder
Oh,
line.
the mainline rate adder? Yeah, so, I had spoken with them, we talked to them several times back and forth over the last several months. I thought it was October. I was thinking it was gonna be off in October. I was off by a month. So when I got the utility bill, before I could even follow up, with the Lincoln County Power District, I got the bill and it wasn't on there. So I just cleared that with Dane, making sure that it wasn't an accident or it wasn't gonna come on later, and
Yeah.
he said that it's expired, so.
Okay, and then remember we used to have the Lincoln County Power District come to our meetings? It was about once a month. Can we get that back too, to kind of help, talk about what they're doing with Grant, kind of tell the citizens of what's going on as far as I mean,
Yeah.
projects around, you know, the city as well as, so we could ask him more questions. I mean,
So I talked to Dane today about that, and he's willing to come anytime.
We were
So-
doing it every other month.
Yep.
no, I thought it
And
was
they were
once a-
here just a month or so, wasn't too long ago.
It's been a while. We've missed a few we haven't had them here for. But I think we were doing it every other month.
Okay.
with
So you
what we were
talked to
doing
Dane
before.
already about that?
I have.
maybe
He
December?
said he's willing to come if we let him know when we want him. And also, I told him we'd probably be having a special meeting potentially, and so I'll let him know. He may come for that. If
And then let him know about December 1st, get one in before the end of the year.
Yeah.
Okay. Thanks, that's all I
It's
have.
more likely that he'll be at the December 1st meeting.
Okay. Meeting on, what's the date on that, next Wednesday?
23rd.
Be the 23rd at 9 a.m.
Okay. Guess we don't need a motion on that or anything, do we? Okay. All right. Update concerning ongoing grants administration. City clerk's reports.
Okay, so there's a grant report that was provided by Linda, included in your packet. Main thing is just that the RFQ closing date was the 16th. I didn't, last meeting, I thought it was the 25th. She told me it was the 25th, but then when she put it out, she had adjusted it to try to get it onto this meeting. And then she forgot to tell me about it. So it's not on this meeting, it'll be on the next. But that period is closed. Heritage Architecture is the only, we extended it for a couple other applicants that said they wanted a little bit more time, but they never followed through. So as far as I know, it's just the one architect that submitted. So that'll be on our next agenda. And then tomorrow, they've got a meeting at 10 o'clock to coordinate the scheduling of the exterior restoration. So it'll be good to get a date. They're supposed to hammer out the timeline, and we should know kind of what that's gonna look like, but it's supposed to start in December. So I don't know.
Notice Carmen's on the line. She's on the thing. I don't know if she's got anything to say or not.
Yeah, I can ask if she wants to comment. But the question I have for you, Sean, is after tomorrow, we'll know what that looks like, and maybe today. But then how we want to proceed with the Christmas lighting and all of that.
Yeah, the beautification committee is in full support of wherever they have to go. So I mean, if they have to, you know, push everything, you know, even down here by the Boxcar Museum and that, I mean, they'll be willing to work with the city. So we'll hopefully get that timeline soon. And
Carmen, I don't know if you can hear me, but do you want to comment? I probably screwed something up.
No, can you hear me?
Yep.
Hi. I am selfishly happy that we were the only submittal, but we're super excited to start the exterior work, and hopefully we're selected for the interior because I'm excited about the project and I appreciate the opportunity.
Awesome. Thank you. Do you happen to know, timeline-wise, anything that they're going to discuss tomorrow?
No, I'm still waiting to get a construction schedule from Spectra. They're the contractor, and you pointed out that they'll be there tomorrow, which is great. So hopefully that kicks off the work, and then we'll start getting submittals and the construction schedule. So I'm looking forward to it.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you.
That's all I have for grants. I also provided my report. We've discussed the mainline rate adder already. There's still no word from the IRS as far as our hearing goes, so I'm just waiting for them. And I guess I just wanted to note that the election has come and gone, but the actual official results will not be known until Tuesday. They've got to do the commissioner's canvass tomorrow, and then I think it's the Supreme Court on Tuesday, and then election results will be finalized. So that's all I have right now.
Okay, any questions for the clerk? Okay. Public Works Manager's report.
Okay, you guys have my report. I just want to hit one thing in the electric. The power district was down here and they used an infrared camera and surveyed all of our infrastructure, our electrical infrastructure. And what that does is gives them a temperature on our equipment. And they found 2 transformers that are an issue and need to be replaced. One of those is going to be Monday. I believe they already did one in the railroad yard that didn't take anything else down at the time. They were able to do everything hot there. The one Monday, they're going to have to shut the Knotty Pine down for a few hours to do it. And the third thing they found was after one of our transformers, but it was a customer's connection, and we're working with the customer to let them know what's going on and what issues they have. So that's pretty neat proactive ability they have to come catch problems before they become an issue. Next thing is the garbage truck. Got an email today from our insurance carrier about the buyout, or about the truck, and the value they give to it is $175,889. With that, they made an offer to me. They showed me 3 used trucks that we could get, and they would have them shipped to us. All of them are from Florida, and when I say possibly as soon as 2 weeks, that's if everything went well, because I have on the thing, the timeline to get these trucks. Possibly up 2 weeks is when we could get one of those used trucks, but I'm not excited about any of them, as all of those used trucks were high mileage trucks, and they started out at $125,000 and went up to $190,000. But I did find a place in Phoenix, Arizona that takes old garbage trucks, refurbishes them. They rebuild the engine, they rebuild the transmission, rebuild the hydraulic pump. They go through and rebuild the rams in the compactor, and then they check and test all of the other rams. They do a ton of work on them, brakes, chassis, springs, all of the stuff. They go through them, and those we can get with a 6-month engine warranty, a 1-year transmission warranty, and a 1-year warranty on the rams in the compactor for $150,000. That's the direction I would like to go, but that is ultimately your choice. And that's one of the things, Franklin, we would need to figure out how we do that. At $150,000, do we have to put it out to bid? That's my understanding, even to buy a vehicle. So our meeting, would that be agreeing to put it out to bid, or can I do that without the city council?
No, the council has to put it out to bid.
The council has to put it out to bid. Okay, so that's where we would need the special meeting, just to get it put out to bid next week. And I will work with Franklin. I'll ask you some questions and make sure we get everything right to get the packet together for a bid.
They take trade-ins?
Yeah, he asked that, actually.
The guy is not real interested in our truck. Maybe the compactor unit on it he talked to us about.
Hey, any questions for Grant, or you got any more?
No, those are my big things, so.
Did, you didn't put it on here, but I mean, you're still interviewing for that slot?
Yes, I didn't put on there. This Wednesday, or next Wednesday. Ooh, that's something I hadn't thought about.
We'll be close. 'Cause
I was
first
gonna
one's
say,
at
my
10.
first interview's at 10, so we should be good.
We should
We do
be
the
okay.
meeting at 9. Should be good.
So you're still interviewing
Yep, we're gonna,
Wednesday?
yep.
And with Wednesday being the trash day for next week, will that be a problem for our meeting?
No, Logan and Raymond will go take care of the trash with one of the county guys, and we'll have interviews, me and Jamin, and Craig said he can't sit in, but we'll find somebody.
Mayor.
If we put the bid out and they get the bid on that garbage truck in Phoenix, how do we get it here?
What's that?
Do they deliver it, or we gotta go get it?
They will deliver it, and I did real quick rough math. It's about half the cost if I send 2 guys to go pick it up and bring it back rather than have them deliver it. But either way, sometimes the cost is worth it as far as having them here.
Like $3,000 to have it
Yeah, it
delivered.
was about $3,000 to have it delivered.
Good, okay, thank you.
Yeah, I got a question for you too.
Yeah.
I know I talked to Susan about the cemetery out there. I assume she come and talk to you, or you
Yeah,
got the
she-
paperwork on that?
She gave me the same letter she gave you.
Okay. We might need to talk to Joe, see what we can do about possibly hiring the honor camp crews or something to come down and do some, help out with that.
Yeah, and did I email this to you, Craig, or was this conversation in here? Is that something that we can get COVID money to cover, or we gotta go someplace else to look for it?
Yeah, we can't do it.
We can't do it, so we gotta look someplace else for that funding. Okay, that was the concern.
Okay.
Because insurance did deny us on any kind of
Hey,
reimbursement for
hey, Grant.
land damage. Yes,
Go ahead, Joe.
Reach out to Tyson on Monday. Grant, and I'll talk to him. And I kind of talked to Susan and had a little bit of a plan, but I don't really want to discuss it on this meeting. So why don't you just, if you'll do that, we'll have it something lined out for you.
sounds good. Thank you, Joe.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. Anything else for Grant? What do you need?
I am looking at under electric number 5, delivered 48-hour shut-off notices to 20 people.
Uh-huh.
Is that a regularly occurring?
You want, it's a regularly occurring event. 20 is not.
We're doing it every month. Nobody got shut off. They all paid.
You serve the notice, yeah.
I just wondered, I mean, has this been going on, is that why everybody's waiting?
No.
That's
No.
not really the case.
It's paid.
Awesome, I think you guys are doing one heck of a job.
I was gonna say, in the almost 4 years I've been here, we've only shut 2 people off due to lack of payment. When they get squoze, they finally figure out a way to take care of it.
Okay. Discussion of legal issues. Mr.
I've got
Katsky.
nothing specific to report. I'll get with Grant after the meeting or tomorrow's, no, maybe not tomorrow, actually. I'll get with Grant to talk about specifications for the award. You can actually be pretty specific about that, so we can get together and talk about that.
Okay, any questions for our legal counsel? Okay, building inspector's report.
You all should have my report. The only thing I want to add on that is the storage containers. I want the planning commission to have a meeting in first part of December and have them read what I have written out. And I'll try to have that finished tomorrow. And I'll get it to them so they can have a little forenotice on it and get a feel for what they'd like to do. And I'd like to get that to the council, city council, by the second meeting in December. So that's the only thing I have on that.
Okay. Any questions for the building inspector?
Yeah, Mr. Dixon, on item G on your report, Clover Creek Organics, it says concrete slabs are finished on greenhouse. How many did they end up pouring out there? Was it a lot?
Well, they got all 15 bays completed.
I've just seen that on your report a lot, that they were still pouring, so they are finished now?
Well, they are complete now. They finished the other ones up yesterday, the last ones. They've still got a couple of transformer pads and things that they've got to do. But they're trying to determine the location on those right now.
Do you have a total yardage that they poured on that? Because I just heard some numbers, they're pouring 100 yards a day for the last 2 weeks or something like that. They've been
No,
pouring a crazy amount of concrete.
They poured the last 4 bays in 2 days. Each one of those bays is about 100 yards.
just crazy amounts.
But they got lucky because of the weather. I mean, the wind wasn't blowing, got cold at night, they had to cover them to keep them from freezing, but they put some covers on them and got it done.
Yep.
Because they had, well, it depended on when you counted them, they had about 20 guys working out there.
No further questions.
Okay, any questions? Okay, discussion of issues related to public safety.
Fire chief's back in Texas. He's out of town.
Our chief's in Texas, and we don't have a representative from the sheriff's office. Okay. All right, discussion of council members' responsibilities, Parks Beautification Committee, Mr. Fitzsimons.
All right, Beautification Committee, flags were put out at Election Day, they were put out on Veterans Day. I appreciate the hard work the committee does for that. The tree lighting is December 3rd. We'll coordinate with Joe and the tree committee to do a tree that night as well. As mentioned earlier, we'll coordinate with the city of Caliente of where we're gonna put our celebration depending on the timeline. November 30th, the committee is meeting at the island to start decorating it for Christmas. Any volunteers want to come help out, go ahead. And the tree plaques that went out in the last utility bill, those will start popping up around the trees in early December as well. So, and then they've got with Grant, I guess it was in his report that they're kind of getting things organized as well. It's kind of a busy time of year for the city, as we realize, so we appreciate them, and busy time of year for the committee as well. This is their event, and it's gonna be a great event as usual. They got the elementary students involved coming to sing, and some of the high school show choir people to come sing, and it'll be a good experience, so that's all I have. And our next meeting is probably gonna be early December. They did have a meeting last week, and that's what things that were discussed. So.
Any questions for Sean? Okay, Community Development and Planning, Councilman Rao.
Yeah, the Lincoln County Regional Development met on Monday here in this room, and they went over a lot of the plans that were coming up, and the most important one I mentioned last time was the the progress they're making on the tree development and pinyon juniper burning and salvaging at Crestline. It's moving along pretty fast. Another thing that is in the planning stages is the NDF, in conjunction with the wildlife club that's here in town, are planning on making plans on putting a greenhouse at the NDF.
Up in Pioche, yeah, at the honor
Village.
camp.
And this will be to grow native seeds for the area. Since then, I've found out that Department of Agriculture loves projects like this, and they might be interested in planning it and coming up with funds for this.
Financing it, yeah.
I got that information to NDF today, and also to Corey Lytle. And so they're working on that. And no planning commission meetings, and our regional transportation meeting for Tuesday was canceled. That's all.
Okay, any questions for Tommy? Okay, Tourism, Boxcar Museum, Mr. Laverie.
Yeah, Steve, I don't have much, but I got a question for Craig. We're supposed to be having a room tax meeting. I talked to Linda about it, but she's gone, and I don't know if she passed that on to you, Craig, or if you found a date.
I heard her talking to Nolan Avery, but I don't, I don't know if they actually scheduled a date, so I'll follow up with her tomorrow and find out. I don't believe a meeting has been scheduled, but she was talking to some of the members about it.
Okay, and then I think it was regarding the concert thing again, so I'll make sure I'm at that meeting, and that way, if it goes before the next council meeting, we can have the information there.
Okay.
All right. That's the only thing I had, Steve.
Okay. Any questions for Joe? Okay. Public Utilities, Councilman Hunter.
Not much to report. We've hit most of it. I think everybody knows where we're at. I will just mention that the city employees are working hard again and we're seeing things move, so thank you.
Yeah, any questions for Mr. Hunter? Okay, we'll go to public comment. Public comment related to any matters concerning the city of Caliente.
Come up to the microphone, please. And state your name so that they got it for the record.
If you haven't signed in,
I signed my name.
oh, perfect.
I'm Rob Phillips. I live up in Panaca. I own R. Phillips Plumbing. And I am here because of Clover Creek. They got turned in when they did their initial buildings. So the state found out that they were running without licensing on their contracting. From what I understand, there were some fines and stuff. Now I got a call from somebody that's working there about the plumbing, and come to find out they're not using licensed plumbers again on the job, which I was told that they were using their general contractor, which is illegal to do. Plumbing, electrical, and HVAC have to have their own sub-license, no matter what, on a job. It kind of irritates me because it's 10 minutes from my house. It's a huge job for us. I go to St. George and Mesquite and work because I can't keep busy out here because stuff like this is allowed. So, and then the owners contacted me and asked me to bid it. I went out there and looked at the job. The stuff that's under the slab is not to code. St. George City doesn't even allow that pipe to be put in the ground in their city limits. They have fittings under the ground that are not to code. You can't put a water line fitting under a slab, which they have all over the place in there. So I called my insurance company and they said, don't touch it because your business will be tied to what's there if it ever fails, if and when it fails. So that's it.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, do we have any other public comment?
Was that inspected? How does that work?
Eve, do me a favor.
Was that inspected? How does that work? I don't mean to
I
be.
inspected it.
Well, how did that get by?
It didn't get by. The licensed plumber on that job for the underground is Wheeler Paving.
Is what?
Wheeler Paving, they have a general engineering license which allows them to do underground work. And I inspected that.
I need for you to, I don't know anything, I'm just curious about this, because it really upsets me that a Lincoln County person is being deprived of work.
It upsets me.
Could you come up here one more time and please explain this?
Am I allowed to?
Yes?
In a short deal time here, yes.
I'm just trying to find out how they got away with it.
They haven't. If the state finds out about it, the contractor will be fined. Because the license that was used is for underground outside of a building. According to the NRS, A building with plumbing under the building has to be done under a C1 license, which is what I hold. They hold an A1 license, which is a general engineering, which allows them to do plumbing and water outside of a building, not inside it. This is inside because it's under the building. So.
These are ready.
So did
Okay.
did you inspect that?
I did,
That's
and
it.
I don't necessarily agree with Rob's specification that underground has to be outside the building. Because the building the plumbing has to be in the ground before the building can be erected.
It all has to be done by a plumber. Within 5 feet of the building has to be done by a plumbing contractor. That's what the
And-
state law states.
And we could probably discuss this outside of the meeting.
Yes, yeah, I think we can discuss this outside of the meeting.
We're in the weeds a little bit, yeah.
I've,
But we never get to hear what's going on.
well,
I'm sorry.
I checked with our inspector today, and he assures me that, our worry is if things were inspected and passed by our city inspector, that we would be liable for it. And they assure me that that is not the case. So, that, they do have their own insurance to cover their problems. So I just need to make sure that we aren't liable. Okay? Last comment.
Yes, so you are right. The city is not liable for it. My complaint to the city is, how did this go through the city without a plumbing contractor license on the permit? Because that is something that is a state law. Plumbing, electrical, and HVAC have to be on those jobs. That's something that you guys should enforce.
So, no, I understand what you're saying, Rob. So there are state laws that require contractors, plumbing contractors, to have certain licenses. The city's involvement in that is very minimal, especially of the building inspector. The only thing that the NRS states, which is 278505, is that the only thing that the building inspector that the city is responsible for is to ensure that they're following building code, not necessarily enforcement of regulations. And so the enforcement mechanism there is complaints to the State Board of Contractors saying that these people are contracting without a license. And that's really the way to enforce it. Because there's also criminal statutes out there that prevent people from practicing without contractor's license as well.
It's going to go to the contractor's board. I was coming to the city council just saying, how can, every city that I do work in, which there's quite a few, on the building permits, it has a spot for those licenses. It should have been caught at the city saying,
right,
who is
So,
this licensed.
so yeah, I was looking at the Mesquite stuff you brought in. There are cities that do enforce that. There's nothing in the NRS that requires the cities.
Yeah, I
but-
understand that.
Okay.
I'm just saying, in my opinion, I think it should be.
And I respect that opinion,
You
yeah,
know,
I definitely
you
respect
know,
that.
I'm not saying that
Yep.
that is the law, but I thought it should be brought to your attention that the stuff is getting done without the licensing that is required to do it. And if you guys have a chance to stop it here.
And
why
it's a
don't we?
simple check mark. If we put it on our license, then it throws the liability to those people 100%.
Yes.
So
Yes.
it's a good point.
Thanks, Rob.
All right, appreciate it. Thank
Bringing
you.
that to our attention. Thank you.
Thanks.
Do we have any other public comment? If not, adjourn this meeting.
Yeah, we'll be at the next meeting. I'll be in Dallas. Good night, Tommy.
Recording stop.